Hello art friends, welcome to Sculpt and Pound. I hope you guys are doing well at home and staying clean, staying safe, staying healthy. I hope you and your family and friends are doing okay also during this time. I hope you guys are also having some fun here and there, whether it's outside, inside, whether it's reading, making art, watching TV, if you do have fun watching TV. Sometimes you do, depending on what episode you're on. So I hope you guys are having fun no matter what you're doing and getting a little fresh air, enjoying this nice weather that we are having, but also staying safe and keeping your distance. So today, since I know a certain holiday is coming up, I thought we would do some crafts focused around that holiday, which is Easter. So I actually did this one at home. It's a sock bunny. Now, this is just using a regular sock. These are clean, by the way. These are clean socks. I got these at Walmart in the boys department just because I wanted plain white socks, but these have a little bit of gray in it, which I don't mind. It actually kind of gives my little guy a little gray tummy, which I don't mind at all. But me and my mom actually made these at home. So that's why I really wanted to share this craft with you. His head's a little wonky, so I'm apologizing for his wiggly head. I'm gonna try and improve that for doing it and showing it to you guys. But what we did at home is that we took one sock that we didn't know where the other sock was, and we made it into something new. So I feel like every household has at least one sock lying around that they don't know what to do with. And this is the project for you then, to use up that sock. If you can't find that other pair that you're missing. So if you have a sock just lying around, great. If not, you might want to use some that you wear. The only thing is, whatever sock that you use, make sure it is a tube sock. This is a tube sock. And it does have this part. We want this part. If it's just a regular ankle sock where it cuts off right here, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult because we use the top part to make the ears. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. And then, so what you need is one sock, rubber bands, scissors, cotton ball or pom-pom ball for the tail. If you don't have pom-pom balls, I recommend using cotton balls because I feel like everybody has cotton balls. A marker, good cutting scissors. I think I already said scissors. Some ribbon if you want to dress your bunny up, make him look super dapper. And then some rice. Some rice. So I'm using long grain rice. If you want to use beans or sand, I don't recommend sand. Sand can get into the little holes of the sock and get everywhere. So I recommend either rice or beans, whatever you have that's dry goods at home. That's something that you can make a lot of projects out of is rice, especially if you're making kind of like a little stuffed little 3D project like this little guy. So I'm going to turn my camera so that way you guys could see while I'm working. There we go. Pardon me for just a second. And here we are. Oh, and glue if you have it. So, sorry, forgot about the glue. I use a hot glue gun because that's just easier for me. But if you don't have a hot glue gun or you don't trust your kiddos, if you're not allowed to use a hot glue gun, please don't. They can burn you really bad. I've been burned many times, so they are dangerous. But if you're older and know how to use it properly, then you can use it. But if you're still a little, then I don't recommend it. And then if you have a bowl, so we're gonna start with this bowl. And go ahead and fill it up with rice. Just like that. And then sorry, if you have like a yogurt cup or a funnel, I don't know if you guys know what a funnel is, but if you have just a regular cup or yogurt cup, I recommend using that for this process because it's a little bit easier, a little bit more manageable. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the rice into our sock right now. Now this is a little sock. Depending on what kind of sock you have, you're gonna use more or less rice. So make sure you have enough rice first before you start this project, because you do need a lot. There's a lot in this guy. He's got a big bottom and a tiny head. So, whoop. There we go. Oops. Okay, put him right there. His head is just not doing well. And then make sure you have your rubber bands handy. There we go. And now what I recommend is scoop a little bit into the cup. And then what you're gonna do is pull your sock over the cup carefully. And then you're just gonna dump the cup. All right, we're gonna do this process a lot, so don't worry if you missed it. So fill the cup, pull the sock over the opening of the cup, and then go ahead and dump it. And depending on how big you want the bottom to be, because we do want to rest that head on top of our base or the body, bottom, whatever you want to say that is. And you could choose, is this gonna be the front or is this gonna be the back? I like the gray for the tummy because it just gives a little different color. If you want it to be an all white bunny and have the gray kind of showing on the back, you could also do that. So go ahead, fill up your cup, put your sock over the cup, maybe pat your sock a little down to get that body form. Go. Ooh. If you also want to use a measuring cup to get a more accurate measure of how much rice you are using, you can. Kiddos, I don't know if you guys know how to use a measuring cup yet, so I apologize. Okay, so I think that is a good start to my base. Now, what you can do is you could right away tie it with a rubber band and then make the head. Or what I did is I filled it all the way and made the kind of like the cutoff, kind of closed it off and then made the head. But for the sake of this, I'm just gonna close it off, make the head. Choose a smaller rubber band because we don't need one that's big. Just need a small one just to wrap and make the body. Wrap it a couple times. Make sure it's all together. So that's kind of like the body and then a very, very tight neck. And you could smush it up, you could flatten it down. You could kind of play around with this. It's kind of like a potato sack or kind of like a stress ball. Kind of like a makeshift stress ball. Oh, just be careful, you might lose some rice here and there. Okay, but for the most part that rice will stay in there unless you squeeze it out the top. But don't go slamming it around everywhere. We want our bunny to be nice and full. All right. So we're gonna get some more rice into our bowl. Remember, be careful. Have someone pour it for you if you can't lift that. It's a heavy bag, it's 5 pounds. There we go. So go ahead, scoop some into your cup. And we don't need a lot for this part. I think I poured a lot, or a bit too much, I should say. So maybe just 2 like scoops for the head, and that should be good. So go ahead, put the sock, stretch it over the cup, and then gently remove the sock. Whoa, I removed it too soon. Oops. Or that's too much. You might have to do a little bit at a time because we are getting to that opening, and see that rice is wanting to spill out. So go ahead, press that rice down, forming that head. Now, if you don't like this, you could also do what I think I did. I filled up the sock first and then did the head, but the way I saw it was that you did it section by section and then let the head rest on top of the body. Boop. It just takes a little bit of maneuvering. So that's pretty full. So I'm just gonna add a little bit. There we go. And depending on how big your ears are gonna be, is how much rice you are also gonna put in here. So if you want bigger ears and a smaller head, your quantity or the amount of rice or how much rice is gonna be different than mine, depending on how big your head is gonna be and how big your ears you wanna get. So go ahead, take another rubber band and tie off the top to where the ears are. There we go. So there we go. I have my body, I have my head. It's gonna do a little wiggling around unless you, what you could do is you could put some glue here and then glue it onto the body if you want to do that. Or you could do what I said and fill up the sock first and then separate the head and the body. But I recommend doing this way. I feel like it's a little easier. If you want the head to stay in place, maybe add a little bit of glue or hot glue just to keep it in place. Boop. There we go. It'll move around a little less. But if you like it like that, go for it. Kind of makes it look like a goofy bunny or a dancing bunny. Whatever you like. If you want to puff them up a little bit to make them a little taller, go for it. Remember, this is your sock bunny. You could do it however you want. Now, for the ears. This may be a little bit of a tricky part because you're like, how am I going to make ears out of this thing? But I'm going to show you. So what you could do is you could draw your ears out first. So if you want to lay it down, or I could show you upright, but maybe we should lay it down. So I laid my bunny down, just like this. Make sure he's facing straight or towards you, because we want those ears to be nice and straight. And then go ahead, I hope you guys can see this, and just lightly draw ears. So I did kind of like a middle mark, and then I'm curving it up and to the left. And then I'm going down and then curving it back into that rubber band. Just like that. See? Now do it on the other side. Start from the middle. And then using your marker, you're gonna sketch it out like that. You wanna go back in the right side and curve it in just like that. Now kiddos, this might be a tricky part because depending on how good or bad your scissors are. I found these scissors in my art room. These are good ones. These ones were kind of bad. So if you have a lot of scissors at home, you may want to experiment which ones work better for you. These ones worked better for me when I cut mine. So what we're gonna do is kind of turn him backwards. I feel like cutting backwards like that is a little easier than trying to cut up here or on the sides. It's just better if you turn your bunny around. So turn your bunny around. Bring this down so that way it's kind of facing you, so that way you could see the bunny ears. And then start at the tip of the ears and start cutting. Kiddos, if you're having a hard time, please don't try to force it. Ask a parent for help if you are having trouble with this. Like I said, it can get tricky. So we're not going to cut it all the way to the rubber band because we want the rice to stay in our bunny. So we're just going to go like that, and I separated this ear from the middle part. So go to the other ear. And we're basically just cutting out a big triangle right now. There we go. And you might get some of like these little strings from the sock. Just pull those out. Not too much, but... or you could cut them off. It will be a little fringy looking or fuzzy looking at the top, just so you know, because socks aren't like the best material to use, but they are the cheapest. But rather than going out and buying material to make a sock bunny or a bunny. But if you want something nicer than this, then you might have to go buy material, but we want to try to DIY, do it yourself, and kind of recycle materials that we already have. Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry, I didn't see that I was not in the camera. So go ahead on the side of the ear. I'm going to curve around, follow my line, and go to the back. Do the other side. All right, here we go. Now, then you're like, well, I have all this fabric back here. Now, if you don't want it, just cut it off. You don't have to have that. Or what you could do is you can make another set of ears and then glue them together to make kind of like a backing to your first ears. You could also do that. I'll probably show you that just so you guys could get an idea, but you don't have to. You could just leave these ears as your ears and call it a day and then cut that off. But you know what? We have time. So I'm just gonna use my front ears as kind of like a template for the back ears. Now, if this is confusing, just don't do it. I'm just doing it to show you that there are options. You can do this, you could not do it. So I kind of traced my ears very lightly onto the back part, and then I'm going to cut the back part like I cut the front part with that big old triangle coming out, just like that. Now what you could do, if you did do this, go ahead and add some glue. Oop. Careful. And then you're just gluing the front to the back. Oop, hot. See, hot glue, hot. There we go. Here, I'm gonna add a little bit of glue down here by the neck. If you want to clean up the ears a little bit, go ahead and snip any straggler parts that you see. Kind of giving him a little haircut, so see, I'm just gonna go on the side, snip that piece off. There we go. And make sure the tip of the ear is glued. But be very careful, because there's only a little bit of fabric there, so if you are using a hot glue gun, just be careful. There we go. So now I have the basic body of my sock bunny. So I hope you guys saw that all. I apologize if you didn't. I'm trying to do my best to look back and forth between what I'm working on and the camera. So this is just one way of doing the ears. You're gluing the front, you're making an outline for the ears using your marker. If you don't like that, like the leftover marker lines, you don't have to use a marker. You could just cut the best to your ability, but that is kind of like a risk, because if you're not the best or you don't know how to make ears, then I would definitely draw them out first. So for this one, I just went ahead and I cut the ears like this, and I kind of did this the side and the side, so that way they kind of like flop over like this, or they stand up like if you perk them up like this. But this one I did a little bit differently. So you don't have to do it this way. If you want to just cut and see what you get, you're just cutting down the middle and kind of separating. That's what you could do, but if you don't like that either, you could try this way. I'm just showing you some different ways. So, now we got our bunny, and now we can decorate him. Or her. So, what you could do, and if you want to give them like more of a pointed face, because they kind of have like a little snoot or snout or muzzle, whatever you call it, you could kind of shape the face a little bit more to get kind of like the point of the bunny face if you want. If you want it just round, go for it. You don't have to do what I'm doing. I'm just kind of like playing around with it, just seeing what I can get. So what you could do now is you could add the tail now, you could save the tail for last, whatever. You could start on the face, or you could add a decorative little ribbon. I have this little ribbon right here. Uh-oh, it got covered in paint. No. No, I got paint on my ribbon. No. Oh well. Adds character. We're in art class. There's bound to be paint on anything in here. Alright. So I'm tying a bow. Bows are tricky, but if you know how to tie your shoes, it's kind of a way you could do it. So you're wrapping your ribbon around the object that you're trying to tie your bow on, kind of making like an X. Here, I'll try to zoom in for you. Kind of making like an X, then taking one strand in the other and then pulling it like that. And then, kind of like tying his shoes, we're gonna make bunny ears if you do that method. If you don't, you may have learned a different way. So make bunny ears, so you're gonna make a loop, and then a loop. And my ribbon is still attached to the roll, because I don't know how much ribbon I'm gonna be using. But if you wanna cut it, that's fine too. Just give yourself some length. So I'm gonna cut this ribbon. Oh boy, there we go. Give yourself some length. So I got my 2 little bunny ears, or loops, whatever you want to call them. Cross them over so that they're kind of like, well, crisscrossing over one another. And then you're going to bring this left loop now, because he was on the right, now he's on the left. So we're going to go slow motion, one right over the other. Hold it with your thumb, and you have this finger kind of in between them. So use your middle finger, kind of place them inside or in between both of them, because then this guy is going to go where that finger is. Okay, so I'm going to take this guy on the left now. He was on the right, now he's on the left. I'm going to take him, tuck him, kind of like put him over my middle finger, and then push my middle finger away. And then you're going to gently pull. There we go. I hope you guys were able to see that. But bows are hard. Bows are very tricky. Some people get it, some people don't. If you know how to tie your shoes, you can learn how to tie a bow. It's basically the same principle, just a little differently. All right. Here you go, straighten that bow out. Bring it to the front or the back. You could have it as like a back bow, side bow, front bow. It's like a side bow right there. There we go. Now what you could do is the face. So go ahead. You could do open eyes. I'm just doing closed eyes, kind of like a little sleepy bunny or happy bunny, or like pretend like you're smiling with your eyes closed kind of bunny. You can make a little nose. Just like that, sorry. Keep going out of the camera shot, but I want you guys to be able to see. So then we're gonna do a backwards J, and then a frontwards J for the smile. Now, if you have items that you want to make for whiskers, go for it. You could use fishing line for whiskers, you could use pipe cleaners, you could use toothpicks if you want. Like you could put toothpicks in here. I just have them on the side of the table, but you could put some toothpicks as whiskers. They'd be super long, but you could cut them. Kind of looks like a porcupine bunny. But that's just another thing that you could use for making whiskers, or you can make them out of paper and then glue it to the little sides by the mouth. You could use pipe cleaners if you have them. You could use string if you have that. You could use anything. You just gotta think. You gotta be creative. You gotta think outside the box. Or here's another suggestion. So if you do have cotton balls, or not cotton balls, pom-pom balls, what you could do is you would glue that right here. See, it just kind of like stays there. And then if you have 2 little white ones, these are like very, very tiny, like super tiny pom-pom balls. I got these off Amazon. I don't know what size they are, but they're super tiny. And then put them kind of like that. There we go. So that's just another way of making the mouth / nose, little pink nose, and then these 2 little pom-pom balls would be the mouth. If you want to get super into it, and if you have the supplies, you could also add some, what are they called? Googly eyes. There we go. You could always add googly eyes if you want. You could buy these, but like I said, I don't want you guys going out to the store. Or you can make them out of paper. You can make eyeballs out of paper. You just need a white oval and a black oval. Put the black oval in the white oval. That's basically what a googly eye is, except there's like a plastic over it. So that's basically a circle, so a black circle on a bigger white circle. That's all a googly eye is. But it has that plastic on it that makes it kind of like move around inside there. That's why they're called googly eyes. I think they're fun. Alrighty. There we go. Okay. And then last but not least, you're gonna add a little tail. So I'm just gonna use my handy dandy hot glue gun. Boop. And I don't have any white cotton balls or pom-pom balls, so I'm just using a cotton ball. If you want it to last a little longer, then I recommend using a pom-pom ball, just because a cotton ball will separate over time. See, you could just pull it and it'll separate. So if you want something a little bit more longer lasting, I recommend using a pom-pom ball, but like I said, use what you have. Or you can make one out of clay. You can make one out of... what else? You can make like a little cotton ball out of a napkin, kind of crumple up a napkin and stick it as like a tail. Whatever works for you. Or you can make one out of paper. You can make a little makeshift one out of paper. Here. This one's gonna be like a pointy tail. There we go. So like say you don't want to use either or don't have a pom-pom, you could just make one out of paper. Easy as that. Yep. Alrighty. So that's how you make a sock bunny. Super easy, I feel like. You just need to like experiment with it, you know, kind of like move things around, kind of get a feel for what you want it to look like, or do you want it fat? Do you want it tall? Do you want it short? Do you want it like skinny? But you could definitely play around with these. These are cool. And that's why I decided to show you these today, because you could always use a sock and kind of recycle it if you have one lying around that you know you will never find the other pair in your house anytime soon, or you know it's gone. So this is just a way of recycling what you have. Alrighty. I'm going to show another project, which is also a bunny project, but it's a little bit different. So here we go. I'm just going to show you how to make a simple paper bunny. Oh, I'll zoom out a little bit. There we go. There we go. So go ahead, clean up whatever you have for your sock bunny. Your sock bunny can watch you make this one. Okay. So all you're gonna need for this one is basically one sheet of regular white paper. And this is just made out of paper. Super easy, I feel like. I'm gonna show you how to make it. And they're kind of fun. You could bounce them around. You could do a bunch of them and put it on a piece of paper and have a whole like herd of bunnies. They could be different colors. They don't have to be white. I'm just sticking with the white bunny pattern because I feel like it's super springy, but also Eastery if you do celebrate Easter. So that's why I'm going with that. So for this one, I recommend a piece of paper, a pencil, tape, just regular Elmer's glue or a glue stick if you have one, and then a ruler. That's all you're gonna need for this one. So there we go. So for this one, we're gonna do a little bit of measuring. Now if you don't like measuring, I totally understand. You don't have to, but I think it just makes things a little bit easier. So I kind of did, and depending on how thick or skinny you want your bunny is depending on how long you're gonna make your line using your ruler. I might have to move the bunnies over just a wee bit. There we go. So I think we're gonna go here. You could also, I can measure this one. So this one I did 2.5. So I think I'm gonna do 3 just to see how that would turn out. So go ahead, measure 3 inches. Make a little tick mark. Go up to the top. Make a little tick mark. There we go. So that way you have 3 inches down here and 3 inches up here. And then go ahead, draw a line down. And there you go. So now we could cut it, or we could do the next one. I feel like we should cut it first. So that way we don't have to worry about it, but, or you could do all your cutting at the end. So there we go. So put that off to the side. So that's gonna be the body. If you wanna write body on it, go for it. That's the body. So now we're gonna do the head. We're gonna measure the head. And it's almost the same size. So I think I'm gonna go 2.5 for my head. So that way I have this room to make my other parts, like the feet and the ears. So 2.5 down here. 2.5 up here. And then connect your little dash marks or tick marks with a line using your ruler. Make sure you're holding down your ruler as you're drawing your line, so that way it doesn't slip and make a weird little jagged line. So go ahead. All right, now you have a head. If you want to write head on this, go for it. Head. You could always erase what you wrote, or just fold it on the inside. So there's the head. Now for ears, or even feet. You could do feet. But let's say for ears, I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit. There we go. So for ears, I'm gonna do this mark, which is like a long parenthesis. And then we're gonna swish it back in, or like draw it back in. So it's kind of going out and in, and then out and back in. So we'll do another one. And they don't have to be identical. Oy. But I'll show you how to make them identical if you are that kind of person who likes symmetry and like things the same. I think I showed it to you last week, a cutting technique where you just fold the paper, draw what you want to draw, and then cut it out. And then when you unfold or separate what you cut out, you have 2 equal pieces. All right, so now we're gonna do the feet. So go ahead, you can make them long. So I basically just did almost like a tall rainbow, or very tall upside down U. So, just like that. All right, now I would cut right in between my ears and my feet just to give some separation, and it'll be easier to cut. And then cut your feet, because I forgot we need to make a tail. So go ahead, make a tail. It could be round, it could be pointy like this, it could be whatever shape you like. So here are my two shapes. This one is like a circle, not a perfect circle, but just a regular circle, or my average circle. And then this is like a pointed tail. And if you want, this isn't like recommended, but if you want, go ahead. So cut that again. You could draw hands. You can make hands for your bunny, or little paws. So go ahead and make two more curvy parts like this, like kind of like our feet. Oh, kind of like the feet that we made earlier. Just like that. All right. And then go ahead and cut everything out. If you want to label, so if you want to put an E for the ears, F for the feet, P for the paws, and T for the tails, go ahead and label that. That way you keep track of everything that you're doing. And that if you do lose a piece, you know what that piece is for. Okay. So again, if you want things to be symmetrical, all you're gonna do, fold your piece of paper. And if you want to save time on drawing, you could do that as well. Just draw one. And then follow the lines precisely to the one that you drew. And then when you separate, you get two equal parts. Now see how that one's a different shape or a different angle? Go ahead and erase that other ear that you drew if you don't like it. Or you could just put it on the back when you put it on your bunny. You could put it facing towards the back of the bunny. But I'm just gonna erase. Now go ahead, cut out your other objects, or parts I should say. So there's one paw. It's the other paw. There we go. I'm gonna save time from cutting and I'm just gonna fold. Here we go. Okay. All right, and then I think I'm gonna use the pointy tail. I don't feel like using the round one, but if you like doing a round tail, that's okay. Go for it. Oh, I did a little whoopsies. Woo! Cut. There we go. All right, so all of my parts are cut. And now it's time to put it all together. So we're gonna start with the body. Go ahead and erase body. And I'm gonna bring this end over to my other end. Now this is where the tape comes in handy, so that way you don't have to glue everything, and then it can get messy. So I prefer to use tape. If you don't want to waste your tape, go ahead and glue. It just minimizes the mess a little bit and keeps things from sliding so much. So go ahead, add a piece of tape, have them overlap. Don't have them, I mean, if you want them to connect like this, that's fine, but I would have it overlap. That way it's a little bit more difficult to rip apart. So as of now, you should have like a little cylinder. It's kind of rolling around on me. So in order to have it stay in place, what we're gonna do is add a little fold. So I want you to take just a little piece and kind of fold it down. So I had it kind of like this, and I'm just taking an edge and folding it down. Nice straight line. And now, as of right now, I have kind of like a little raindrop looking thing. There we go. And so now I want you to take the other side, kind of place your fingers where you want, or actually, where did it go? Oh, okay, turn it around all the way to the back, and then kind of fold it kind of along with this line where the tape is, and then fold it like that towards that the other little line. There you go. And kind of looks like a mountain right now. Kind of looks like a little mountain or a little mailbox, whatever it looks like. So that's going to be the body. So now we're going to do the head. And the head might be a little bit shorter or smaller, so we might want to cut this. So go ahead, cut it maybe to 7 inches. Just make a line, because we don't need all of this, but we wanted to make a nice, we just did it for size or width-wise. So now we're doing lengthwise. We're just going to cut some of that off and go ahead, overlap the two pieces, get a piece of tape, tape right on that seam. Okay, so now what we're going to do is put some glue and attach her head right on top. Kind of looks like a robot. Now, I want you to grab your feet and just lay them right in front of your little guy. Just like that. Add just a drop of glue to each one, because you don't need a lot. And then go ahead and bring your little guy forward and just place him right on top of those 2 feet. Depending on how long you want them, you might go like that, or if you want long feet, you'll have it go like that. Whatever you want, just try to make them even or lining up. There we go. See my F set at the bottom? Go. So now I want you to do the paws. So the paws can go like this or like this if you want it to be a happy bunny, or like a little bunny like that. I'm gonna do a happy bunny. So I'm just gonna put a little glue on the right one, put it like that, and see how I'm placing my letter on the back. If you want to erase that letter, go for it. I'm just putting them on the back to save some time. Remember, put a drop of glue and then stick it like that. Now for the ears. So for the ears, what I did is I did a little folding technique, so that way it's easier to glue. See how there's some paper right there? Those are the bottom parts of my ears that I just folded, so that way the glue has somewhere, or that way my ears have something to sit on. So go ahead, fold just a little piece up like that, kind of like a little corner. See? Do the same thing to the other one. Just like that. Right? And before you attach them, I recommend drawing the middle parts of the ears. So if you have like a pink marker, I just did mine with regular black, but if you want to color that in, you can. There we go. So that's like the inside of the ear. All right, then add just a little tiny drop of glue and put it on the top, just like that. And then do the same thing with the other one. Little drop of glue. Go. And I'll turn it around so that way you guys can see. Here's my little E's for the ears. And go ahead, take your thumbs and your index finger, so this finger and these fingers, and put your thumb right on top of that glue part and smush it down, pressing against those fingers, just like that. But you're like, well, then my bunny ears are folded. Well, what you could do is just fold them back, just like that. You can keep it like that if you want one ear up, one ear down. Go for it. It's your bunny. You can make it creative or different if you want. All right, so this bunny. So now go ahead and decorate, or wait for things to dry first, but I don't have that time. So I'm just gonna show you what you can do. Go ahead, add some eyes, add a little nose, add a little mouth. That's where the whiskers go. You can make some whiskers. Oops. Could give it some eyelashes. Bunnies have eyelashes. I feel like a lot of animals have eyelashes, like birds. I think birds have eyelashes. There we go. So you have your little bunny, little sculptural bunny. That's why I chose this project for today, is because it's a little sculptural, but it's also festive. There you go. And then last but not least, could add the little tail. So I did this little pointed tail. There we go. Or if you want to add a cotton ball, go for it. You can add a cotton ball, like I showed you with the sock bunnies, but you don't have to. Like I said, it's all up to you. If you want your bunny to hold like an Easter egg, if you can make other things, you can give it like a little tummy right here. But you can make a whole bunch of these. This one doesn't have arms. Oh, sorry. This little guy doesn't have arms. I chose to make him without some arms. Or at least that's what I saw for the example. But for this one, I chose to do some arms and even a tail. I didn't add a tail to this guy. I kept it very simple. But you, depending on what you want to do, you could make it differently. You can make one with just like a little slip of paper, I feel like. Here. Show you how to make it double time. Piece of tape. Use your extra piece. And it doesn't have to be a bunny. I feel like you can make a bunch of animals with this. So you're basically making circles, maybe folding it just to give it just a little base. So that way it doesn't roll all over the place. So that's why we folded that bottom part, just so that way it doesn't roll everywhere. Add some glue to the top. And this could be anything. This could be like a little penguin or a little bluebird. It could be an elephant, whatever you choose. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's crafts. I hope you guys had fun. Hello. So I hope you guys had fun with today's craft. I hope what I gave you today was inspirational and something that you could probably do at home if you're bored or have nothing else to do. This is something that you could do. Super simple. All you need is paper for this one. For the bunny, all you need is a lonely one sock for this one and some rubber bands and some rice. If you're not a rice person, maybe use some beans if you have some beans. So use what you have at home. Like I said, I don't necessarily want you to go out. If you are going out to like Walmart or maybe Jewel, some of these things you could find at the grocery store. Parents, if you're watching, you could pick these up for your kiddos if you want something else for them to do. But then again, I'm not saying you should. So like I said, please continue to stay clean, stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to wash those hands and keep your social distance from others. Alrighty, so thank you so much for watching. Again, if you did make this, send those pictures to me. I would love to see what you guys made, what you guys did differently, because all of these will be different. Even my first bunny was different from my second bunny. And there's so many different ways of making things. So just keep in mind that you could do anything that you put your heart to. Use your imagination, use your creativity. So again, please send me those pictures of anything that you make. I would love to see it, even if it's not my projects. If you found something online or you're doing something for school, let me know. I would love to see what projects you are doing during this time. So thank you so much and have a good day.